is cut, it's going to be panic stations. It's going to be very exciting time.
What's going on, guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital, and we're here with Thomas Lamb, CEO of Myriad Uranium. It's a pleasure to have you on today, Thomas. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. It's nice to be here. Thanks.
Yes, I'm excited to be talking about this company. So can you start by giving us a brief introduction to the company, telling us a little bit more about yourself and the company?
Yeah, great. So Myriad is a uranium junior. It's listed on the CSE, the OTC, and Frankfurt. And it's very interesting. I think it's the best uranium junior out there in that it's very high torque. It has the potential to generate a massive return, and I'm excited to explain why. It's got some unique characteristics or rare characteristics. First of all, it's got a very low share count. 34 million is very low for its stage. Second, it is 46% insider owned. Like myself and others, our management group, we're big shareholders. We're in this for the long haul and a big future for the company. We've got really interesting shareholders, including a top 3 global uranium trader. And a couple more points. Management has a track record of building and selling companies, including yours truly. And the technical team they're leaders in their fields. So I haven't told you about the projects yet, but those are some really important things I'd like your viewers to understand about the company. We are really invested as management in the company's future. Now, about me personally, I am a corporate lawyer by professional background. So I was an M&A lawyer at one of these big law firms when I was starting out. And then I became a mining entrepreneur. Through a series of fortunate events, I started a company from scratch with a friend called Gold Group in 2005, so a long time ago, 18 years ago. And we built it up, and 5 years later, we had a nice IPO, and it was worth a few $100 million. And along that journey, I learned a lot of things, got involved in other companies. I ended up moving to London, went to business school on top of what I was already doing, London Business School, joined the board of Russia's second largest gold producer. At the time, situation with Russia was quite a bit different. I was in the board of Russia's second largest gold producer. I created a project generator in East Africa with some partners, 2 partners. That led to M2 Cobalt, which we sold to Jervois Global. That was a multi-billion-dollar company. I was an executive there. And then, I've ended up here, series of events as CEO of Myriad Uranium. So that's my journey. A lot of experience, built some companies, had some exits, and I love building these companies and trying to make everybody a lot of money if I can.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing your previous success. And you must have seen something with this company if, that's what you've done and that's where you are now. So let's talk about your projects. So could you elaborate on the potential of the Copper Mountain Project in Wyoming, particularly in light of its historical significance and the exploration potential identified by experts?
So you're exactly right. I'm in this because this is a really interesting junior. I would otherwise be doing something else. So Myriad Uranium has 2 projects, one in Wyoming and one in West Africa. So the focus is on our Copper Mountain Uranium Project. It's right in the center of Wyoming. And this is a great story. In the middle of the summer, we were looking for a second project that we could actually focus on. We ended up doing a deal with Rush Rare Metals to earn up to 75% of this Copper Mountain uranium project. And while we understood that it was potentially quite interesting, we didn't know how interesting. In fact, nor did Rush, our joint venture partners. Both sides were taking a chance because we didn't have a lot of data about it. We knew it was a historic producer of uranium in the center of Wyoming, and we knew we needed data. to understand it. We didn't have the data. So very lucky, our deal partner's CEO, Pete Smith, encountered a rancher in rural Wyoming who actually in his house had some dusty boxes of historic data. Around that time, we signed the deal, letter of intent to do the deal, and well, we didn't know what the data contained. So this is the story. We did the deal, we signed the letter of intent, and then we started reviewing the data as part of the due diligence. Again, we didn't know what it contained. Here's what it revealed. It revealed that we have a really remarkable project on our hands. In the 1970s, Union Pacific Railway spent $117 million Canadian in today's dollars developing this project. We did not know that. We found out that they drilled 2,000 boreholes, 900,000 feet of drilling. They go by feet in the US, and identified 6 uranium deposits. And we know now that there are more than 6 deposits. This is a big project area with lots of uranium. They estimated the resource, this is from mine planning purposes, to be between 15 and 30 million pounds of uranium. And they estimated the potential of 2 out of the 6 uranium deposits to be upwards of 63.8 million pounds. That potential, if realized, and this is kind of like an exploration target, that potential would put us right at the top of uranium projects in Wyoming. So that's the Copper Mountain Uranium Project. It's surpassed all of our expectations already, and we're just getting started. There's so much more to tell you about it. It's got a long history. It's a past producer. And there's a lot more to it. We'll get into that. But that is our Copper Mountain Uranium Project. We're very excited about it. We've lucked out. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, thank you for sharing that. And what steps is the company taking to bring the historic resource estimates and targets current under 43-101? And how do you envision this impacting the company's future trajectory?
So that's what could really level us up. Among the catalysts, where there's a whole list of things that are potentially very exciting, we can get into a little bit later. But these estimates were done in the 1970s by Union Pacific. They had the world's and certainly America's top geologists working on them. These estimates are very robust, high quality in our view, but under 43-101 rules, they're too old to call them current estimates. So we need to get a geologist to sign off on a current estimate. In order to do that, a geologist is going to, our team is going to want to do additional work to verify the historic estimates. In order to do that, we need more data, and we need also to do a bit of work that includes drilling and uncapping old holes, and putting probes down those holes to verify the readings that they got in the 1970s. So that's 2 things we need to do to bring those resource estimates current. Get more data, do some more drilling, drop our own probes down. How much work we have to do depends on how much data we have. But once we do that, you get valued on current pounds in the ground. That value can be very high, especially in a $100 plus per pound uranium market. We go from being an explorer to a developer, basically almost mine ready in a way, and we're really off to the races. So this is like order of magnitudes increase in our market cap, from 12-13 million to several hundred million potentially.
Exciting times ahead. So could you discuss the advantages of the Copper Mountain ore's high amenability to leach, including the potential for ISR methods, and how this may influence the company's operational strategy?
Yeah, so we're extremely lucky. If you invest in projects up and down central US, you usually are dealing with ore like lignite, which is like brown coal, or other things that require a mill. And those are big, expensive, and messy, and hard to get permitted, etc. we understand that our ore does not need a mill, may need a little bit of processing, but it doesn't need a mill, and it can be put on a leach pad, and you spray. It's like copper leaching from Copper Mine or gold that you leach from. So you spray acid on it, and it pulls the uranium out of it. The historic tests show that we're getting recoveries, or we can get recoveries up at well into the 90s, 95% recovery of the uranium with leaching. And that is very high. And the fact we don't need a mill is really exceptional. And so that turns this into a, really helps the economics and gets us to production a lot faster and it's a lot cheaper. Now, in situ recovery. In situ recovery is right now the holy grail because it reduces the cost of production drastically. Kazakhstan, the world's big producer, produces 40% of the world's uranium. Almost all of that is in situ recovery methods, and that is injecting carbon dioxide and some other things into the ground. And it attracts the uranium, and then you pull the solution up a little further down. And very clean method. You don't disturb the ground very much. And we hope that we can get there. In the 1970s, they were optimistic about in situ recovery, and our experts these days also optimistic about in situ recovery.
Great. So now let's talk about share structure, which you did mention. So with a low share count and significant insider ownership, as you mentioned, how does the company plan to leverage this capital structure to drive value for shareholders?
Yeah, so we only have 34.2 million shares out. Again, that's very low. We are thrifty when it comes to issuing shares. What that will allow us to do is to really launch. It's kind of like coiled steel, like a spring. We create a huge amount of value. I mean, we have an enormous resource, historical, asterisk, historical. And with a low share count, we can bring that that historical estimate current with our low share count, and of course do some very interesting things in terms of exploration, et cetera. We can launch, and that's what the low share count enables you to do. Also, high insider ownership, and we're in this for the exit. We're not in this for some kind of, making money along the way approach. So that's what the low share count enables. Yeah.
Tons of potential. So let's talk about your African projects. So given the geopolitical considerations surrounding your Niger exploration project, how is the company managing the uncertainties and potential opportunities in that region?
So we have company making projects in Niger. This is 1,800 square kilometers, right up against two of the world's top uranium projects. So it really is unfortunate that the country is quite unstable at the moment. There have been 3, maybe more coups in the last 15 years in Niger. It's a seemingly regular occurrence. It does get settled. And then you have one of the world's top uranium basins, which you get to operate in. It's on the edge of the Sahara Desert. So currently, things are uncertain in Niger because there was a coup in July, and the new regime is very intent on resuming normal operations. But we are in a wait and see position. So we have these really extraordinary assets. They're right up against and on structure with the world's second largest deposit, Africa's best uranium deposit, which is Global Atomics DASA. And we're right next door, ready to explore. But at the moment, we just have to wait. But like every other time in the past 15 years, things do settle. It's back to business. And then we get back to having a big value of our Niger assets. A year ago, we only had our Niger assets, and we had a $14 million market cap. So that is, where we are today, or a little higher. So, and that is at $50 uranium. So you can imagine the value that's going to be created in a few months when Niger settles down, and how we can leverage that. I mean, it's a company maker in itself. We could spin it out. So shareholders of Myriad would have shares in 2 companies, both highly valuable at $100 a pound uranium instead of $50 a pound. Lots of good options.
Definitely. It seems like the market hasn't really put much value on that, which provides more upside in the future, like you said, when things do settle down. So that's pretty cool. And hopefully, you know, when we have you back on, we can chat about that. So now let's talk about management. So could you highlight the experience and expertise of the management team, technical teams, and particularly in relation to past successes and industry collaborations?
Fine. So I already talked a little bit about myself there, built a few companies and had exits. I like to do that because it's fun, creates huge value, and it's the greatest feeling in the world to make your investors a lot of money. So we hope to do that here. Our chief geologist is George van der Walt. He's from South Africa. He worked for Peninsula, one of the big uranium companies. He's a top-notch exploration geologist in uranium. Peninsula's Karoo project, which he managed, had 12,000 drill holes. So he can handle a big project. Very smart guy. CFO is Nelson Lamb, no relation to me. He used to work at Price Waterhouse, excellent CFO. So we have a great board. I'm on the board, but it's not because of me. We have Di Kaba, international mining lawyer, was a partner at two of Canada's top law firms. Cyril Amati, he's a banker, a Europe-based banker, strong West Africa connections. Banker worked with top groups, Endeavor, et cetera. Tom Lee, capital markets expert from Toronto, and Fred Bonner, an eminent Canadian geologist from the East Coast. So that's our board. Fred is on our technical committee also, so am I. But we have an exceptional technical group. David Miller is on our technical committee. He's one of the world's leaders in situ recovery. He's worked for Orano, which is effectively the French government, Areva, its predecessor, some of the most important uranium companies in the world, highly regarded. Ron Hallis is part of our technical team. He was the COO of Global Atomic. Global Atomic has Africa's one of the world's best uranium deposits, the Dasa deposit. He brought that from discovery up to building the mine. This is a world-class COO of a top uranium company, and he's on our technical committee. Jim Davis is on our technical committee. He discovered the Arrowhead Mine in the center of our project area in the 1950s. Get that. Wow. Amazing geologist. He's older, sharp as a tack, very excited that we are at Copper Mountain. He was in charge of spending Union Pacific's, in today's dollars, $117 million that they spent. He supervised the drilling of those 2,000 boreholes at Copper Mountain. He knows it inside out. He's excited we're there. He's talking about not just the uranium, but there's gold there. There are other things at Copper Mountain. It's an exciting spot. He's there to help us. And then we have other members of our technical committee too, Adam Ousmane, Michael Kante. These are West Africa experts. So we have a really top-notch team. We're actually built for a big company that is a serious uranium company, but we all happen to be part of this junior because it is really cool. We could be re-rated tomorrow and be a $200 million company if fully appreciated. So it's a special situation. That's why we're in this. Yeah.
Exciting times ahead, and it's quite a pleasure to get to cover your company at this stage, because I hope that it becomes a really big success. So what are the key catalysts the company anticipates in the near term, and how does the company plan to capitalize on these potential opportunities?
Yeah, so catalysts. I can just go hit them bang, 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 because they're there, they're clear, they're very exciting. Number one, market awareness. Because we have all these historic pounds in the ground, we're completely distinct from other juniors that are merely chipping rocks, drilling a few holes, hoping to find some uranium. There are a bunch of those. We have a huge historic resource. When the market becomes aware of that and values it, we'll get a big re-rate. We could be, some multiple of where we're at. Other catalysts. The uranium price is rising fast. There's all sorts of reasons why it's going to go much higher. A lot of the banks, see it going a lot higher. U.S. politics. Russian uranium is likely to be banned soon. U.S. is going to focus on domestic production. Where? Wyoming. Huge amount of money is going to flow into Wyoming. Another catalyst, we're going to obtain additional data that's going to let us bring our resource estimates current. That'll add huge value. Another thing, we have targets in our district. Only we know about them. We're going to add those to our stable. That is pounds in the ground, and there's high grade, lots of exciting stuff. Another catalyst, in situ recovery. We're going to be testing that. If that is viable, the economics of our project are transformed, and the value is going to be much increased. Additionally, big investors. There are lots we're talking to. In due course, I'm sure some will come in, maybe a lot. And last couple of things, if Niger stabilizes, the political situation stabilizes, we can add on that $14 million in market cap at $50 uranium. Now uranium's $100. What is the value of that at $100 uranium? A multiple of $14 million. And of course, we can make new discoveries at Copper Mountain. So it's a long list of potential catalysts. We're working on each of them. It's exciting times for us. We're a small company that has a massive future.
So before we let you go, one more question. In expanding the company's exploration efforts to add pounds in the ground and explore exciting zones, what specific initiatives or projects is the company currently undertaking, and what are the anticipated outcomes?
Yeah, so we have proprietary exclusive information about our district because of all this data we've acquired. We've been acquiring in bunches. Nobody else knows where there is high grade, where there are previously identified deposits, formerly producing small uranium mines, et cetera. We get to acquire those. These are big catalysts. It'd be hard for anybody else to figure out where they are. We know where they are. We're in the process of acquiring them. That is going to lead to big value enhancement. We have that initiative underway. We also have an initiative to better understand the geology, and in a way that is modern, with modern methods. That is going to, we think it's going to help us make big discoveries that are even bigger than the discoveries that have already been made at Copper Mountain. So that the potential there is just massive if we do those things. And there's more, but I know that I can't go on forever.
That's all right. We'll have to have you back on to cover those. So it's been a pleasure, Thomas. Thank you for all the information on your company. It sounds like you're at a critical stage and there's a bright future ahead. So I look forward to covering it. And thank you so much.
Thank you.